Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
Well, there was one other kind of topical thing I want to talk about. We can shelve it for later, but we're going to do a little, maybe like, what's the word? I don't know if I want to, maybe like, come on a journey with me. Let's say that.
Okay.
All right? Close your eyes. It's the 1970s, okay? You probably have sideburns, and I'm imagining you in a button-up, and it's tucked in to your, pants, which are pretty high, and there's probably vertical stripes on this shirt, and you have, maybe sometimes if it's cold enough, a cardigan, but also you do love your mustache. You get to keep the mustache. You are probably about as old as you are now. You got a wife at home. You got 2 kids, probably, okay? And you've got a solid job at the local newspaper drawing cartoons. And you're just ignoring all that shit to try to figure out the mysteries of the Zodiac. And then we'll get into it, but as that becomes your life, all of those other nice things I talked about leave you. You don't have those in your life anymore. You get fired. Your wife divorces you. You don't see your kids ever. It's all Zodiac all the time.
But then do I eventually write a best-selling book that gets adapted by David Fincher?
Yes. But another thing, though, and this is something...
Do the end credits of my life say that I have a decent relationship? Make sure to say that I have a decent relationship with my children still?
Well, here's something I want to say. Did that happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the movie, yeah.
I'm going to start this as a criticism of Robert Graysmith, the man, but end it with a compliment about the movie, which is that the book is like widely, like 100% bold text, considered to be like inaccurate.
Okay.
Robert Graysmith very much so like focused on like Alan Lee Ray or whatever the fuck his name is, Lee Ray Allen.
Arthur Lee Allen.
Arthur Lee Allen. And there's just a lot of shit in there where they're like, hey, you want to provide sources, buddy? You know?
He's like, no, I'm a cartoonist.
Yeah. So, not considered that accurate.
I can see that. He's a cartoonist.
But the success of the film, in my opinion, is in that second half when we really focus in on Mr. Graysmith. There's 2 moments I want to hyperfixate on. One, which is, I think it's like Mark Ruffalo says something, or I don't know if I'm just like conjuring this up out of the vibe of the film, but like he says something where he's like, hey, you're gonna kill yourself tracking down all the Rick Starlingers or whatever the fuck. Because there's that one guy that he's like, it's gotta be this guy, and he's like, yeah, there's gonna be a dozen of those.
Yeah.
You can't, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna kill yourself if you focus on every what's the name? It's the character that Charles Fleischer, the voice of Roger Rabbit, plays.
Yes, the basement guy. Yeah.
Yeah, basement guy.
I think he had it almost.
It's Rick
right?
Marshall. Rick Marshall.
Sure.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Mark Ruffalo says something to the effect of like, there's a dozen, Rick Marshalls, whatever, and you're gonna fucking kill yourself if you try to, whatever. So, but we'll come to my finer point. So the end. By the time you get to the end, he just has to know. He has to see Arthur Lee Allen.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter whether or not he's Zodiac in the larger picture. It matters to Robert Graysmith. Because once he can like look at Arthur Lee Allen and be like, yep, you're the Zodiac, then he can move on with his life and have a good relationship with his kid and finish his book and stuff. So what I'm trying to say is that the movie's narrative is not who is the Zodiac, but rather who is the Zodiac to Robert Graysmith so that he can put this away and walk away or whatever. So what I'm trying to say is like the inaccuracy is fine in the context of the movie because the movie is clearly about a man's obsession and him having to,
yes,
however he has to work through it. But what would you think of Zodiac? How did you tell your story about the first time you saw Zodiac? I love that story.
When I was a youngin', about high school-ish, I'd say, I had a friend who had a very large basement with a very large projected on a very large wall. And he'd always have, like 9-10 dudes over to stay the night on the weekends, and we'd all just hang out and smash Mountain Dew and play Call of Duty and stuff like that. Just boy stuff,
Yeah.
I remember being there one night, and it's like 2 a.m. Everyone besides me is asleep. I'm just surrounded by 9 sleeping dudes. And I just put headphones on. I'm just like going through Netflix, and I see Zodiac, and I just go, oh, I like David. I'm a Fight Club guy. I'll watch this.
Yeah.
And I am just locked in for over 2 hours in this basement until 4 a.m. And I just thugged it out and watched all of Zodiac, and I loved it.
Great story.
And I haven't seen it since then.
What did you think of my opening monologue before we move forward?
I liked it. I hadn't thought about... I should have. At the end, when he goes to see Arthur Lee Allen, to me, it's like... The way I read it was... I have to go there and look at him because he's going to know who I am, and I need him to know that I know.
Yeah.
And then that wasn't the end of it. But in real life, because it's easy to forget it's real... Yeah, no, that's kind of the end of it. He just writes the book.
Yeah.
And then that's that.
Yeah. So you kind of have to, if you're David Fincher, I guess you have to find the resolution, right?
Yeah. Do you think that happened in real life? Like you went and saw him and looked at him? Because it does say in those end credits where it says he has a relationship with his kids that Arthur Lee Allen very shortly after died of a heart attack.
I mean, I would say... It's one of those things that's like so like, yeah, he could have gone to the hardware store, that whatever, and like checked out one time just to, you know what I mean, lay eyes on the motherfucker. So could have. But anyways, nice segue, unless you had some other thoughts, into first time seeing it since that first whatever. What do you think?
I enjoyed it quite. I mean,
yeah,
real hot take here. I think Zodiac's a good movie.
Yeah.
It is. I'm always saying the opposite of this on this show specifically. I like that Zodiac is too long.
Yeah.
Because...
Never once have I watched this film and been like, geez, get on with it. I don't know why. Every time it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's... I think it works really well only because you see all the Zodiac shit happen within the first 30 minutes of this.
Yeah.
And then it is just a wild goose chase off of nothing.
Yeah.
For so long that it really feels like, oh man, we've been doing this for a while. Like I feel with the rest of the cast of characters in this movie, like, oh man, we've been doing this a while, but I don't feel like, all right, wrap this up. I'm like, we're getting there. We're gonna get them.
And just no resolution.
Yeah,
nothing ever happens.
Chris, I think you did it.
Well, I mean, in real life.
No, in real life, I think you did it. I have done no research. I haven't even read the book, but after watching this movie, oh yeah, Arthur Lee Allen did it.
See, I'm of the opinion, this is my Zodiac opinion, which is that I don't think that anyone that we've ever fingered as being like the big suspects probably didn't.
But he had the watch and the shoes.
It's probably just, it's also, let me, I mean, okay, we'll take this detour really quick, which is just to say that you're familiar to some degree with the Jack the Ripper killings, right?
Yes. I didn't do it. That's what you're getting at.
I don't know if you know this or not, but most, if not all, of the letters that he sent to the papers were turned out to be hoaxes. Written by a couple of, or maybe one journalist trying to, drum up newspaper sales. Right. Even, there are a couple that some people say are like, oh, this one has to be real because, he sent half a liver with it. And it's like, okay, but they didn't have forensics back then. It could have been half a liver from from a dog, a cadaver, a dead body the guy found. It doesn't... Yes, this man having half a liver is not a good look for him, but it doesn't mean that he's Jack the Ripper.
Exactly, yeah.
So anyways, what I'm trying to say is that, the Jack the Ripper thing, there's, the... there are the real murders that happened, and then there's the from hell letters, I'm Jack the Ripper, I'm gonna rip you up good, right? What I'm trying to say is there's a level of Zodiac that makes me think, because I don't know if you know this or not, but I think they touched on it in the movie, I think they handle it very delicately, but there is that point where Mark Ruffalo is accused of faking one of the letters.
Yes.
That happened in real life. He did.
Oh, he did?
He did, yeah.
Oh, fun.
And there were plenty of other fakes. There's I've seen at least 3 or 4 other online, and that's just kind of the byproduct of actually publishing those letters, because people can then copy it and fuck with you, and you kind of see that in the movie at one point where people start coming and just confessing to being the Zodiac killer to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
They also, I mean, thing of trivia I read, and I hadn't thought about it until you said that, because I wouldn't make an awful detective or newspaper writer, but I probably make a pretty damn good cartoonist that investigates afterwards. One of the like ciphers that they didn't figure out until like the past 5 years.
Yeah. Cipher 340. I know this one.
Is like, it says something about like that wasn't me on the TV show.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because it's like the thing about like a bunch of people could have been in, but then I was like, all right, he might have not even written this cipher.
Yeah.
We don't even know.
Yeah, we don't know. So, anyways, there's obviously like the theory that like there's like 3 of the murders that happened that like for sure the cops are like MO's too close. Like these 3 for sure. There's like the 2 couple killings, like the Lake Berryessa, and then the Lake Herman one, and then like the Paul Stein murder of like the cab driver or something like that. Like those 3 are like canonically like those for sure, and then everything else is kind of like we think, not for sure, but we think, you know. The Paul Stein one, I think it is, or whatever. I could be getting names wrong. This is not a true crime podcast. But the handwriting that was like on the door of the cab like matches the letters that we know are real and stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? There's some stuff that's like straight up concrete related. But all I'm trying to say is, yeah, it's one of those things like Jack the Ripper or like DB Cooper that's just like, it's so fucked at this point. Like, it's not going to be solved. It's a forever mystery, probably, you know?
Would you want to know what happened to DB Cooper? Because in my mind, I'm like, that's so sick.
Yeah.
Like, that story just ending with him disappearing forever. That's so fucking
I'd
sick.
agree with you. But anyways, to sum up my point, there are reasons why in those murders, like Arthur Lee Allen doesn't fit. They even talk about it a little bit in the movie, like the description of the people who saw him said that he was like a 5'9", 5'10", you know, tiny guy with curly brown hair or whatever, and Arthur Lee Allen's like 6'2" and bald and fucking stocky as shit, you know. There's just things like that where it's like, you know, he may have maybe he wrote some of the hoax letters, or maybe in the interview he's just a sick fuck that wanted to fuck with them and say weird little shit to confuse them, you know. Who knows? He's also real life is a child molester, for sure. But yeah, like there's never been any. I mean, they did search his house twice. They did do DNA tests and fingerprinting and nothing. Like that's why the police, you know, over the course of up until when he was
the damn squirrels ate all the evidence
in the 90s. Like he was gonna do a polygraph before he had a heart attack, but he ended up having a heart attack. But was it?
Those don't work.
But either way, he was going to do it, then he had a heart attack. So people are like, oh, like even in the movie, they're like, he was going to do a polygraph, but then he died. And it's like, they gave the polygraph, you know, whatever. But, yeah, I don't think it was him, personally.
Wow.
I don't think it was Arthur Lee Allen. Look into it, because seriously, there are like 10 other suspects that will have you feeling the way you do about Arthur Lee Allen. Like, you know, the killing with the executioner hood and stuff like that?
Yeah.
There's a guy named Paul Dior. He's one of the other big suspects. Why is he one of the big suspects? Not only just because of this, but partially because he loved going to Renaissance fairs and would have had something like that to wear to the fucking Renaissance fair. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm saying to you, the beautiful thing about the movie is the thing I was saying earlier about the Rick Marshall thing. Arthur Lee Allen's your Rick Marshall, man.
That's true. I'm going to show up to your house in the middle of the night while it's raining. I'm going to pound on your door with some evidence about it, and my evidence is just going to be a scene I remembered from the movie.
So anyways, yeah, I also, every time I watch this film, has been like, I think it's Arthur Lee Allen. But then, like, when I was watching it this time, I was like, I should, like, search up, like, how credible is Robert Grayson? But then I went down that rabbit hole of everybody being like, okay, kind of stretches the truth a bit. They see it a lot as like a guy who wrote the book from like the I have my conclusion, how do I get to Arthur Lee Allen is the guy, you know.
Oh yeah, he gets the answer and works backwards. That's how conspiracy theories work and stuff like that. So yeah, I understand that.
But anyways, the movie itself.
I
like that first half. You were talking about how it's kind of like going nowhere-ish. Like you kind of feel like you're building to something, but like it never comes in a sense. Apparently, at least at the time when it came out, it was heralded as being like one of the most like period-accurate period pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super faithful, and it like does a really good job of capturing like just the vibe.
It's like yellowy green. Like
yeah, but also just the vibe of like what San Francisco 70s was in like the wave of fear. Like
yeah.
Because that's one of the things. Yeah, like this movie. is, at least the first couple times that I saw it, like there were some scenes where I was like genuinely scared, like the basement scene.
Oh,
scary as fuck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It has a great like creepy vibe, like just this like just pace of just like there's like an ominous Zodiac presence in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm,
and you feel it in the movie, you know, like where is he? What's he gonna do next? You know,
that basement scene's so good. Like when he first gets in that guy's house and you see him lock the door with a key, like they don't make a big deal out of it. Yeah. It just happens. And I was like, oh
yeah.
But when he has the poster and
he's
goes,
like, well, that's my handwriting. I write all these.
Jake Gyllenhaal does such a good job, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Of just like he doesn't really change anything about what he's doing. You can just kind of see him like. His eyes almost stiffen up, and he's like, well,
I gotta be going. I won't be taking up any more time.
I do have a wife and 6 kids, so I gotta get out of here. Did I interrupt a point you were making?
No, just gonna start kind of going scene by scene with stuff that I...
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
That I liked. I guess beforehand, we could address some like notes I might have written down. One of the notes I wrote down was the Jack the Ripper thing. Oh, yeah. So we start out... And you've got that 4th of July scene, which I've always loved. I've always loved that as being a backdrop for just like murder, crime. Blowout does that, I think, or like Independence Day. It's one of the couple of, you know, very patriotic, whatever. There's some kind of like red, white, and blue celebration or centennial or bicentennial that's happening in Blowout. I can't remember offhand. But there was a time where I was kind of like toying around with the idea of like writing a Columbo spec script, and I was like, oh, he does the murder right at midnight when everybody's like shooting off guns and fireworks are going off, and then that's why nobody reports the gunshots and stuff. You know? Anyways, but the reason why I bring this up is because that's, you know, great scene of, you know, like I love personally driving around on 4th of July night, like not actually going to any fireworks themselves, but driving around and seeing dozens of fireworks in every direction you look.
Oh yeah.
And the movie does that in the beginning. The kids go to the makeout spot, which was big at the time, and then Zodiac just shoots them point blank. Brutal. All the murders in this are brutal.
I'd like to correct, not kids. He goes at one point after the Zodiac leaves in the car for the first time. He goes, "Was that your husband?" And she goes, "No, I don't think so."
Yeah.
This is a Brace's kid and some lady in their neighborhood who is hooking up with this kid.
But the murders in this are brutal.
Yes. Yeah.
And they, you know, the other thing is, I for me personally, the effect of it is it's not brutal in the way of like a Friday the 13th movie. It's brutal in the way of like every time I watch it, I'm like, fuck, like that was someone's life just snuffed out.
Yeah.
Like it feels like sad. Like I feel somber for the victims when this happens.
It is pretty action-y in the car at the beginning.
Yeah.
But the one that gets me, obviously, I think it's
the tied up.
My opinion, the scene of this movie is them at the lake.
Yeah.
And you just see him just standing there in broad daylight with that stupid outfit on.
Yeah. And when she says like there's someone over by that tree, like
yeah,
those are just some of the scariest lines in movies to me. Like in Friday the 13th Part 2, there's a line like that where Ginny Field goes, "Paul, there's someone in this room." Then she goes, "Paul, there's someone in this fucking room."
Yeah.
And Jason's in the room. It's like, fucking dude. Even goosebumps me saying it.
Yeah. I like the way it's shot in contrast, especially to that first murder scene.
Yeah.
Is where it definitely feels like everything feels pretty tight and the camera doesn't move a lot, and it feels like, oh, I'm on the other side of this lake watching these two people die.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the entire time, and like
then he stabs him like 18 times in the back. It's brutal.
And he survives. Something I read, it was in my notes as well. I've got an example for you on why I like David Fincher and why I don't like David Fincher.
Okay.
I like David Fincher.
Sure. This is probably my favorite thing he's ever done.
All the murders in this, all the murders in this are only ones where the only ones you see in this are where somebody survived.
Okay.
Because they didn't want to just make up how a murder would have happened.
Sure, yeah.
Like, to be as accurate as possible. Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, we're only going to depict ones.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I don't like about David Fincher. Every time you see a close-up of Jake Gyllenhaal's hands and he's reading a letter or something like that, they have digitally added hair to his hands because David Fincher thought his hands were too smooth and feminine.
Yeah, I would say that one thing I don't
insane.
like.
That's fucking insane.
The one thing I don't like about Zodiac is it's very apparent in the establishing shot of
looks
them.
like Send Help.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the establishing shot of the tarmac airplane scene, there's a lot of like digital background cleanup that like just again we complain about it with modern movies. I know that shit's been happening since the 2000s. I just don't like that. Like I don't know. I just wish, through like clever camera angles or something like that, you could just figure out how to hide all the modern stuff instead of digitally removing it. Like just scout the location and figure out a way to shoot it where you don't see all the new stuff. Yes. I don't know.
Well, like there is also stuff where like they airlifted trees in for scenes and stuff like that. But then also I think in the shot the scene we were just talking about at the lake, like a lot of the grass and stuff in front of the camera is digitally added. And it's like, okay, well that works. I didn't notice it.
Sure.
But also, yeah, I remember seeing. I can't remember what movie it is. I want to say maybe it's 7, but there was like a recent remaster of it, like in 4K. Like David Fincher went in himself and like cleaned people's glasses digitally and stuff like that because they were dirty. And it's like, why are you doing this? Man?
The dirty glasses adds to like the authenticity of it, in my opinion. Like this is something
that feels less like a remaster of this movie and more of like your 2025 cut of this movie. Which I guess if you're David Fincher and it's your movie, do whatever you want to.
And here's the thing: this is my like rebuttal to a lot of that stuff. And I guess Nosferatu isn't a great example of that because I feel like Nosferatu is very digitally like whatever. But I was listening to it's been making the rounds because it kind of went viral on Reddit. But there was a small like 10-minute video essay of just someone being like, "Hey, if you haven't, you should definitely listen to the commentary track of The Witch because." Did you see that?
No.
Oh, but anyways, it's basically just Ryan or whatever his name is, Robert Eggers. The hook of it in the beginning is like him front loading all of Robert Eggers being like, I don't like this shot. It's not good storytelling. This is way too flat. Mm-hmm. And just him talking about how he's like, there's a lot of things I'm proud of in this movie, but there's a lot of ways in which like there just wasn't that like ability of meeting what was in my head. And there's a lot of him being like, this goat is not accurate to what these settlers would have had and all that kind of stuff. And during the video, there's a clip of him talking about how like the Witch is immaculately period accurate, except for a couple of things like the goat and yada yada yada. And
weren't invented yet.
What's that?
They weren't invented yet.
Goats, yeah. God hadn't gotten around to that one. But he was talking about how he's like on stage with a microphone talking about how he's like I didn't make sure that like all the buttons on their like buttons were like exactly how they're supposed to be, and that all the shingles on the side of that house or whatever is the way it's supposed to be, and that the wheels like this are because I'm into buttons and I'm into shingles and I'm into wheels. I did it because the more that I pay attention to that and I build this like authentic world, the more that you as the audience, without even thinking about it, will be in the mindset of those people at that time. And witches will seem that much more believable to you. So he's like, so when I do the supernatural thing, the more real the world is, the more that you will be subconsciously buying into it, And it's like, exactly that. Like absolutely. that's what I'm always. And I'm giving this shout out to him, and taking his idea. But that's what I'm always trying to say about the, don't go in and digitally clean up the glasses so that they're clean. The fact that they have shit on them makes me think this is a real guy who's lived a whole day with his glasses on. Because if you live a whole day with your glasses on, it gets dirty. And same thing with like digitally cleaning up the background and stuff like that. When I look and see that, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Well, this is gross computer images. This is not, it takes me out of it for a second,
But I also feel the same way. I feel the other side of it as well, where if I could see David Fincher being like, this shot's a lot nicer, and I want the shot to look clean.
Yeah.
And I want the glasses to be clean, because I don't want... Like, there's that famous shot from, like, the X-Files.
Yeah.
Where Scully's looking at a computer, and she's got glasses on, and you can see just the reflection of the computer, just solid blue. Where it's just like, no one's glasses look like that, but artistically it looks nice.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, if I'm watching like a 4K remaster of a movie...
Yeah.
Part of it I like is being like, oh, this looks dirty because I can see too much stuff now, and it feels like a movie that was made. And it feels real, but also at the same time, I could see, especially David Fincher, who's like does 100 takes of everything, is a perfectionist and everything, being like, okay, well, if you can tell that this person's glasses are dirty, we need to get rid of that.
Yeah.
But also, I'm just what I'm trying to get at is I'm firmly on the fence on this issue.
Heard. It can go either way. It's a case by case basis. So. We see that murder happen, and then we open up on San Francisco. We're at the San Francisco Chronicle. We've got Robert Downey Jr., who I love in this film.
Rubby-dubby.
But he is 100% just playing Robert Downey Jr. There's no way that he actually met with that guy and is like behaving the way that guy is.
Yeah, absolutely
he is
not.
for sure just being Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. It's one of my favorite like roles of his ever.
He
like
does.
when they're at the table after getting the first letter, and he's like, "I report on crime in Vallejo," and then he's looking at his boss, and his boss is like, "Go do your job." And everything. He's like, "I report on crime in Vallejo." And he like goes,
Yeah. I love my favorite moment of him in this is when he comes in drunk and gets his stuff to leave.
Yeah.
And Robert Graysmith comes up to him and goes,
"Are you okay?"
"Are you okay, man?" He goes, "No.
No.
Thanks for asking."
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so genuine. And also,
But he says it in a way where, like, facially, if you're looking at his face, everything registers as he's about to say yes.
yeah.
It's a really well delivered line.
He also, I've heard other people say this, but I remember when he did Iron Man. Like, the big thing about it was just like that was a real gamble getting Robert Downey Jr. to head this big blockbuster movie because notoriously fucked up his career by being a druggie or whatever, and no one knew if he still had it in him. Of course, he did Iron Man 2 months after this, or something like that.
Yeah.
This is 2007. Iron
So
Man
this
comes
is
out in
really the
2008.
first.
So, dog shit. Absolutely, you would have seen Zodiac and gone, "Oh, he can do it." Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Crazy.
Okay, so they get the first letter.
Yes.
And I laughed out loud because this is just a trigger of mine. Anytime I hear the word rampage, it makes me laugh. Rampage always will make me laugh.
I get that. Yeah.
And the reason why I did is because the editor is reading out like I love killing because it is so much fun. It is more fun than getting my rocks off with a girl, like yada yada. And then he's like, and if you don't, publish this in today's San Francisco Chronicle, I may have to go on a kill rampage. And like just that he was, I don't know, like if I got a letter where someone was talking about like, yeah, I'm gonna go on a kill rampage. It's like, okay, well. Now you're a cartoon character to me. I don't know why you said kill rampage.
And something I also love about the Zodiac in general is he's smart enough to come up with all these ciphers that don't get solved for 40 years or whatever.
Mainly because he can't spell. That's why they can't be fucking solved.
Yes. Which also, Chris, he spells Christmas with 2 S's just like Arthur Lee Allen. I don't know how there's any doubt in your mind that it's this man.
The thing is I don't know if there's a source for that is the thing.
His sister said so. Or his sister.
That's not enough when you're a detective.
He's not a detective. He's a cartoonist. Also, before I forget, I can't find I don't know if I'll be able to sneak it in the conversation again. But John Carroll Lynch, who plays the Zodiac Killer, Arthur
wonderful
Allen,
performance, so creepy,
so good, love him.
Good in this. Everything he says is just like every single time he's just accidentally hitting on something that came up earlier.
No relation to David Lynch, but in 2017 he directed a movie called Lucky, starring Harry Dean Stanton and David Lynch.
Wow.
And I don't know if I want to watch it or not.
Can I do one more rampage?
Oh, of course. That was it. Ooh,
do you know?
Livingston's in it too.
Do you know who Marvin Heemeyer is?
No.
Marvin Heemeyer. He is known for, according to Wikipedia, when you look at his stats, it says like born October 28th, 1951, born in South Dakota. If you're curious, died June 4th of 2004 in Colorado. Cause of death. His occupation, he's a veteran, stuff like that. And then at the very bottom of this little stat sheet, it says known for, and then on the other side it says Killdozer Rampage.
Okay. You got me. I know who Killdozer is, yeah.
But it's also like, why would Wikipedia call it the Killdozer Rampage? Like, is this an official term? Like, am I just in the minority of like thinking that
I think it's just a word that's not used much anymore, but
just saying someone's gone on a rampage is like, okay, like a spree or like, I don't know, something like that, but like a rampage, just like I immediately think of like Archer, like rampage.
Yes,
like,
I think if you build a super bulldozer, call it the Killdozer, and then ram through a bunch of buildings.
You're on a
town,
rampage.
That is.
You're on a rampage. It just makes me laugh.
I can't think of a more appropriate word than rampage. But if you're gonna kill a bunch
rampage
of people,
Jackson.
Yes, if you're killing a bunch of people and you go, I'm gonna go on a kill rampage. That's silly. Yes.
Yeah, so funny. Rest in peace to everybody who died.
Did he kill a dozer?
Killdozer? No, I think he just did a bunch of property damage. I just meant rest in peace to anybody who's died. We're doing a lot of laughing in a podcast about a movie where people died a bunch.
That's a good point.
Okay, so they get that letter. It's the first letter. And then, from then on, it's like, You see like people trying to crack the cipher. There was a husband and wife that cracked the first one. That was what happened.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was that they just took a gamble on being like, well, the most common like double consonant is two L's in a row, like will, kill, shill, chill. So
drill.
Yeah, and that led to them cracking it.
World lately.
And then there's the period where like, so
Spill.
what's the next murder?
The woman? No, not the woman with the baby. I mean, the woman with the baby is the next one we see, but I don't know. They talk about a lot of murders that you don't see, so it's hard to keep track of.
I want to say that the rope one with the stab in the back happens next.
Oh, I thought we already talked about that. Sorry, go on.
Well, I'm just saying, so like that happens, and there's like a letter, and then like I think he kills the taxi cab, which in real life there were children, which they interview in the movie, who saw it happen. They watched from their bedroom window. They watched,
yes, the cab.
They watched him like get out and then go to the other side and mess with some stuff and then walk off. And then in real life, 2 officers did stop someone who they thought was the guy who did this, but the all points bulletin came in saying that it was a black dude, so they let him go. This truly happened.
Crazy.
And so that's one of the things, when you talk about a Jack the Ripper, you talk about a Zodiac, so many of these happen because I'm not trying to be a dick, but just because of fucking just the cops dropping the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so... I feel like most like true crime things you see, like especially like TV, like not procedural, but like I can't even think of like a cop show that would do reenactments.
Yeah.
Weekly. A lot of those shows are like, and then we're investigating, and then the cops got the one lead that they were looking for, and someone gives them an anonymous tip.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, someone drops the clue that they need in their lap. It seems like.
So. He taunts them about that. He sends a letter saying, like, yeah, I talked to a couple of cops that night, but the pigs let me go and stuff like that. What do you think about the Zodiac as a...
He's bad.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy,
yeah.
I'll go on record saying that.
Yeah.
What about you? Think he's cool?
No.
Okay, good.
No, but it is, like, something... And this makes sense because... Dirty Harry is riffing on Zodiac, but like he's like a character out of like Dirty Harry or something. Like it is something.
Oh,
like
it's crazy that happened in real life.
Yeah, he's like a gritty, gross, like Dirty Harry villain.
Yeah, it's
like
it is insane that it happened in real life.
Yeah, it's insane. Like same thing with I don't know if you've ever seen this letter, but this is one that did not make it in the movie, which I think is crazy. One of the letters that he sent in was just him saying, like, hey, just saw The Exorcist. I think it was the funniest satirical comedy I've ever seen in my life. It's all the letters.
It's good they didn't put that in the movie, because at that point I would have been like, you know what, I like this guy. I hope he gets away.
So he's killing people, and, basically the cops are working on it, and you can tell that, like, Mark Ruffalo cares.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the animal crackers thing?
I don't know what that's about, but I love Mark Ruffalo in this movie.
I love Mark Ruffalo in this movie. I can't stand the animal crackers thing. I thought it was so dumb. I don't know why it was such a thorn in my side.
Yeah.
Every time he brought it up, I'm like, shut up. Smoke cigarettes, man.
Yeah. Paul Avery is reporting on it. But, as he reveals later in the movie, I mean, it's a job for him.
I love when he goes to Graysmith and he's like got some book. He finds like that old movie with that guy dressed kind of like the Zodiac was or whatever, and his name is like Zorro or something in the movie. And Paul Avery goes, with a Z? That means nothing, but they treat it like, oh, we're cracking this. It means nothing that his name starts with a Z.
They do some nice transitions. Like there's a scene where Robert Graysmith comes up to Paul Avery's desk and he's like, all 3 of these, murders ever happened by like a body of water. Like, he's like, okay, what about the cab driver? Washburn Avenue or whatever. And he's like, kind of a stretch, Graysmith. And he's like, yeah, but the book I'm reading says like you always look for patterns. Or he's like, you can't approach this like a normal police case. And then it hard cuts to the police, talking about the cab driver. And it's just, I think one of the first things that gets said is Mark Ruffalo goes, he's breaking the pattern. So it's like a nice transition from them talking about the pattern to like the. It's nice. So this is all happening. We're going through like the motions of like the thick of it, like the hotbed, coals are burning, we're cooking with gas, people are out there getting murdered. Zodiac is writing, just taunting. He's just dropping off these letters and he's sending in fucking scraps of t-shirt with blood on them and freaking people out. And he's saying he's going to shoot, school kids coming off of a bus. And then a year later, he's like, you guys are fucking super dumb if you think that I was actually going to do that. So egg on your face. Also, I should mention one of the funnier scenes in the movie is when he asks Shorty if he's bothered by people calling him Shorty.
I don't remember this.
Okay, well, I'm going to react it word for word. He's getting like a coffee or whatever from Shorty, who's like the guy who stands by like the whatever it is. And he's like, does it bother you people call you Shorty? And he's like, does it bother you people call you retard?
Yes.
And then he goes to Robert Downey Jr. He's like, do people ever call me this? Or he's like, what, like retard? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, no. So funny.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I have to say is surprise Chloe Sevigny.
Yeah.
She just shows up in so many stuff. Like, somebody thinks like I always forget she's in like American Psycho. There's so many movies where she just like shows up sometimes. I'm like, oh shit.
She showed up and I went, oh, it's her. And
Yeah.
my partner went, who? And I went, it's
Harmony Korine and
And
her.
she goes,
She was like the.
She goes, what is she? And I went,
Gummo.
I said, I went, Gummo. She went, what's Gummo? And I went, also surprised John Carroll Lynch. Not John Carroll Lynch. I'm looking at the wrong person on Surprise also has 3 names. So he's the game show host from The Bad Dad from Magnolia.
Oh yeah.
He's the handwriting.
He plays the handwriting expert. I like
Yes.
him. Yeah.
Yes.
And he's like, one more peep out eating your way in the hallway while I work. And he's like, sorry. He's like, sorry counts as one more peep.
It's good. It's
so
good.
good. Yeah.
And I do love. I mean, just skip around. Sorry, but I
No, it's okay.
do love at the end when he's just like, Grace Smith is talking to Ruffalo, and he's like, but the handwriting guy or the guy from Magnolia said this. He goes, the guy from Magnolia got fired. All right?
Yeah.
He drinks like Paul Avery does now.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And then later in the thing, they're at the diner talking about it, and Mark Ruffalo's like, well, the dad from Magnolia said this. And he goes, the dad from Magnolia? The guy who drinks like Paul Avery? He's like, oh, you got me,
Yeah.
Grace Smith. It's good.
So he meets Chloe Sevigny on like the night that Paul Avery's going to like meet a secret, rendezvous, deep throat kind of character, and he gets all worried. So they call the wife of Paul Avery, and then they end up going home. And there's that cute moment where Chloe Sevigny is like, "Are you just trying to get me home?" He's like, "What? No." And then they're home, and he's like, "You can go if you want. I know it's getting late." She's like, "Go. This is the most interesting date I've been on in a while."
I know.
Then they get divorced.
That's true. They do. When she, when it cuts to her like asleep on his couch, I went, "That's crazy." And then when she goes, "This is the most interesting date I've been on in a while," I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I would stay. I would have stayed as well." Yeah.
Okay, so we get to that point now, and Paul Avery, I think at this point is like, he blabs to the press about like some other case in Riverside.
Is she in Gummo?
Yeah. She like tapes her boobs up and they're jumping on the bed
Oh,
together. She's got bleach blonde hair.
Yeah. I was like picturing her like walking through that field. I'm like, that's Julian Donkey Boy. Sorry, go on.
But yeah, so he blabs to the press about a case in Riverside that may or may not be in real life actually connected, and there's the whole thing with the scratching into the table of like the poem and all that kind of stuff, which is all real true stuff. But then Mark Ruffalo and the police get very pissed because they're like, hey, you want to run it by us first? Because, like, does it even matter to you that this might not be Zodiac and you're getting the whole city fucking worked up and it's going to be way harder for us to do our job now because you're... But the thing is, you know, not defending Robert Downey Jr., but just stating facts. Like, you know, like he says later, he's like, I'm in the daily business, you know?
Yeah.
I'm drumming up, you know. And Mark Ruffalo throws it in his face great where he's like, I don't care about circulation numbers, you know, like to him.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Robert Downey Jr. gets shitty too where he's like, hey, it's been a year and a half. You're going to catch this guy? You know? You know?
I love because he like slaps the notebook out of his hand when he puts his finger up to slowly pick it up in front of the car. It's very good. Very good.
Yeah. And these guys, you know, you get to watch Iron Man and the Hulk kill at each other.
Yeah, they kiss. They don't, but they basically do.
So then, yeah, he starts to get pretty into alcoholism.
Did they go on TV yet?
Oh, yeah, there's all that stuff with, like, the lawyer, Mark Belli.
Played by Brian Cox. He might be my favorite character in this movie. I love him because he's like, I don't know, when you first meet him, I found him pretty comforting. Like, when he's got, like, 1 foot in, 1 foot out of being, like, a huckster.
Yeah.
Like, when they, like, get to the TV program and they're like, you have to keep him on the phone for 15 minutes, and he looks to the news anchor, he goes, well, we can do that, can't we? I'm like, that guy's, you're so reassuring. I love you so much. But then I love later when he gets the letter, and he mentions that the housekeeper talked to him on the phone, and they're like, well, what time did they call? He goes, oh, I don't know. I was out of town.
Yeah, like, it's no big deal.
He's like, it's no big deal. He goes, I'm telling you, the real story here is the letter.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So then they're eventually like on the trail of Arthur Leal and like the police, And like I said, Robert Downey Jr. is pretty drunk, and like his boss is yelling at him. He's like, "I'm gonna fire you if you don't quit the booze and stuff." And he's like, "I'm gonna go on to greener pastures if you feel like my work isn't whatever." Greener pastures ends up being like the fucking Macomb County Spelling Bee or something later. He ends up at like a dirty, not good newspaper. He doesn't make a lot of money. He moves onto a boat.
Sick houseboat, though.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Are those? Yeah, okay, we'll get to it.
But I've dreamt of living on one a couple of times.
Have they gone the way of the waterbed? Because that's what I feel like. I
think so.
I don't know.
They're probably still around, but like you got to be a weird fuck to do it.
Oh god, it's so cool.
I want to do it.
I want to do it so bad.
And then Robert Graysmith starts to get increasingly obsessed with Zodiac to the point of like stressing the relationship, and it's kind of at the point where like Mark Ruffalo's going insane, and his credibility is on the decline because of the whole like letter thing, and the case is slowing down. There's been a murder in like 8 years or something. Robert Downey Jr. has moved on because he's working somewhere else and drunk and living on a riverboat. And Robert Graysmith is like just starting to be like, someone should write a book about this. Someone who has all the shit. So he goes to Robert Downey Jr. and he's like, "You got all the shit?" And he's like, "No, I don't." He's like, "I got rid of it, or I threw it out, or something. I don't know. I moved onto a boat."
I got hung, right?
One of my favorite lines where he's like, "It's like, what do you mean you don't have it?" He's like, "I don't know. I got rid of it, or I moved onto a boat." Like, what do you, like seriously, because it's true. It's I mean, it's real. It's real. I mean, like, what do you want from me? I live on a fucking boat right now.
Look at how much of my thigh I'm showing you right now.
And then the other thing that there's a couple of other like truth bombs. Straight up truth bombs that get dropped. He drops a truth bomb where he basically says to Robert Graysmith, like, what do you give a fuck so much about this like cartoon villain guy who killed like maybe 4 or 5 people? He's like, more people than that die in this county in a 3-month period. Yeah, like there's way more shit going on now. Like, move on with your life, you know. And same thing, Mark Ruffalo gives him the same shit earlier, where he's like, so what, you don't care about the Zodiac killing? He's like, hey, there are 200 people right now, grieving families, that I have to go get justice for right now. Like, I'm sorry, I can't devote all my time to this weirdo, this one weird guy that wrote us a couple of times. Which is,
I love that scene, too. It's great. Mark Ruffalo is so good when he's just like, I can't help you, okay? Yeah. You're not a cop. Yeah. I can't tell you where to go. I can't tell you to talk to Kevin Nealon. Yeah. N-I-E-L. It's so good.
Yeah. And so then he starts doing this thing that could only fucking happen to a white dude in the 70s, where you just walk into a room and you go like, hey, I know Tony. And the guy's like, you know Tony? He's like, yeah, I just want to help you guys out. Let me help you out. The guy's like, all right, you got 5 minutes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can't do that shit anymore. Yeah. That's like every book and movie, like Rudy, all that shit. You can't do that shit anymore. You can't do that shit. You can't sneak your way into Harvard just because whatever.
I'm telling you, man. You can't in Canada. You gotta watch Nirvana the band, the show. That's that whole show. Is being a white guy just going, "Hey, can you let me in here?" And people going, right, get in here.
If this was a video podcast, you'd see my whole foot in my mouth right now. All right. So then at a certain point, I think this was early. We missed it. But the other contender for scariest scene in this movie is the mother car scene, where the mom and her baby are driving late at night. Oh, and then the guy starts flashing the lights, and she decides to finally pull over, and she's like, can I help you? And he's like, tire's loose back here. I'm going to tighten it up for you. And he tightens it up, and she starts driving, and then the fucking thing falls off. And then he pulls up, and he's like, I guess it was worse than I thought. Clearly, he loosened it.
I felt really stupid because, like, there's that shot of her, like, looking at her rearview mirror at him with the wrench. Yeah. And, like, he turns it, and I'm, like, trying to look really hard. I'm like, did he turn that the wrong way? Like, is he loosening it? I'm like, of course he's fucking loosening it. What are you talking about? You're not watching a scene about Good Samaritan helping a lady in the middle of the Zodiac movie.
And then they're driving, and he passes the gas station. She's like, you just passed the gas station. He's like, they're closed. And then I think the only thing he says is he's like, before I kill you, I'm going to throw your baby out the window.
Again, because it's the 70s, I don't want to say love, but it makes me laugh that almost every interaction you see with the Zodiac killer is him coming up and being like, come here. And everyone going,
I guess I will.
Okay. And him going, I'm going to kill you. And they go, that's not very groovy, man. And he's just like, I'm going to do it. And he does it. It's great.
Something I wanted to talk about before I forget, because I forgot to write it down. But in the beginning, there's the phone call, where Zodiac, Arthur Lee Allen, whatever, calls and basically says, like, 2 dead, I shot him. .22 caliber off and he's like, goodbye, or whatever, Have you ever heard of the Weepy Voice Killer?
Dude, Chris, the Weepy Voice Killer, fuck you. I saw it like on a TV documentary when I was
Have you heard
10.
the voicemails?
Horrifying.
What does he say? He says something like, he's like, don't talk, just listen. Is like how he always starts it. Like,
God, I hate him.
Yeah.
I remember watching that and my mom making me turn it off because she could hear it from the other room. Being like, that's horrifying. You have to stop.
Okay, so, and then he starts running around. He's doing all that stuff. That's when he gets the Rick Allen fucking thing, and or not Rick Allen, Rick Marshall, and Charles Fleischer in the basement. It's creepy. It's horrible, and yada yada yada. And then eventually he's like, oh, it's got to be like Arthur Lee Allen because the watch and the boots and the Darlene, whatever her name is, had a friend named Lee because he goes to the like insane asylum or whatever, and she's like, he had the short little name like Rick, didn't he? Like Rick, and she's like, no, it was Lee. And then he goes through and he's looking for Lee, and
it's birthday.
Yeah, the birthday.
And also, this is what I would be banging on your window about. And like, I remember this from the movie.
Yeah.
Chris, how come when Arthur Lee Allen was in prison, the letter stopped, but as soon as he was out of prison, they started again?
Yeah. Well, it didn't start again. They just the cop who already faked one got a typed letter. You know what I'm saying? Did they really start again?
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah. Typed. But anyway, so had already gotten caught faking the handwriting, so he probably typed it. But anyway, so then obviously we barreled through it. It ends with him going to the thing and just seeing him in the hardware store. A great scene. And then at the very end, surprise McPoyle.
Yeah. I had no idea what was going on during that scene, so I was like, there's a guy named McPoyle in here.
Yeah,
and then by the time it was over, I was like, oh, he was the guy from the beginning. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think people change that much physically, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They should have just brought that guy in and like found a way to make him look a little older.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because the other thing is that the McPoyle guy, like, I'd have been offended because he's not even that old. Like, that interview is supposed to happen, I think, like, closer to, like, the late 80s, probably maybe even 90s. But that, like, first murder happened, like, sometime in the 60s. And, like, I would be offended as the McPoyle to think that I was, like, the aged 30 years version of a guy probably my age.
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I'm saying?
You think the McPoyle man was in, like, his 40s at the time?
How old is he now?
Probably in his 50s. As the movie is 20 years old, so yeah, he's probably not in his 60s. You're right. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he was just happy for the work.
For sure, but it's just like, it'd be like, okay, so you want me to read for... Okay. All right. I'd think about that one for a while, probably. That would hurt me a little, probably.
I was getting a little annoyed during the movie of how often you would see a title card that would just say 1 1/2 weeks later. And I'm like, I get it. Time is passing. You don't have to tell me every single time. But I did really like the way to show a year had passed is that time lapse of a building being built.
Yeah.
I thought that was very nice.
Cool.
It's just a very scary song. I can't, even without this movie, I can't imagine hearing that on the radio in the 60s and not being like, this is terrifying.
What the fuck is that hurdy-gurdy, man? It sounds like
It's the Hat Man. Another piece of trivia I want to read you here.
Sure.
Dermot Mulroney, who's the police chief for Mark Ruffalo,
Okay.
had to wear a fat suit for a few
Isn't
shots.
he in Scream 6?
Yes, he's the killer's dad.
Murder?
Yeah. Had to wear a fat suit for a few scenes because David Fincher felt that he was in far too good a shape for his character. Chris, I cannot remember a scene where this man is standing, or I saw his body at all. So cleaning the glass is needless.
Yeah.
Crazy. So funny though.
So any closing thoughts? I think that wraps up my Zodiac tank.
You ever watch Mindhunter?
I think I watched like the first episode one time, maybe. Or no, I'm thinking of True Detective. No. Yeah, I think I watched the first episode of Mindhunter.
It's the Netflix one that David Fincher did. That's pretty much a spiritual successor to this.
Yeah, I want to watch it one day. But
it doesn't end.
Yeah.
It got canceled.
Whatever,
yeah, but I've seen a good amount of it because my partner was watching it, and it's good. It's just this, but a TV show, and it's really good. But also,
it's right up my alley.
I can't remember if I talked about this last time, but I saw someone pointed out not too long ago, and it really bums me out when I think about it. But yeah, Mindhunter, it was like the first Netflix show.
Yeah.
That and like House of Cards around the same time that were
Yeah.
both done by David Fincher.
So you're talking about that like Netflix look?
Is the David Fincher look?
Yeah.
Such a bummer.
Yeah.
Such a bummer.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't understand the streaming business model. Talk about that almost every episode. But so what do you give the film?
What do you give the film? Because I don't know.
I think I think I want to give it like an A.
I want to give it an A minus. Yeah. I was thinking either that or a B plus, but it's a damn good movie, so I'm gonna give it that. I also heard someone else talking about it. I watched a bunch of other people on YouTube talk about this movie. I should have looked up a list first. This movie won like 0 awards because it just came out around a shit ton of other movies, like best movies you've ever seen.
Like The Hurt Locker.
Rudy.
No, probably like The Dark Knight. I'm assuming There Will Be Blood.
I think it's
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men. Same
Yeah.
yeah, crazy.
The Dark Knight also came out around this time, 2007,
Next year.
2008. Yeah.
Next year.
Either way, that's close enough in my opinion. Or
Okay, so
it's easy to get lost in the mix, and you got shit like that popping off.
Sorry. Okay, so after Zodiac, we watched Pusher, which did I say it last week? Because I was very surprised that this was directed by Nicholas Winding Refn.
I don't think you said it last week, but
I knew
I
he
was
was-
surprised.
I knew he was in it, but I didn't know he directed it, and I
Yeah.
couldn't find him in the movie. He plays someone named Brian.
Huh.
Who's a Brian?
I don't know. I don't remember. But I also was surprised to find out that this is a trilogy.
Dude, yeah. How are the three of these?
And I don't know if you've looked into it or not, but the other two I thought were going to be like nothing to do with Nicholas Winding Refn and probably like shitty. They're all apparently great.
Yeah.
They have the other two have a higher Rotten Tomatoes score than the first one.
Yes, I think... I don't know about you. I felt robbed of a Mads Mikkelsen movie while watching this. He's out of the picture so quickly, and I was like, I thought this was his movie, man. Come on. Apparently, he's the next one's about him.
Yes, the
And
next
the
one's about him, and the third one's
It's
about
about
Milo.
Milo.
Yeah.
Who, Chris? Where do we know Milo from?
In Bruges, I think.
Oh, maybe I don't know if he's in Bruges, but we know him as. Hold on, I should have had this ready. It would have been a lot funnier.
Could be wrong, but I thought he was the Alcos guy, like the guy selling the gun. That's like, you know this word, the Alcos? But I don't think that's him, actually. Where do I know this guy from? Tell me.
Oh, it doesn't even have his character name here. Fuck. We know him as the president of that weird fake European country in Superman.
Oh, no way. Wow. Okay.
Well, now I have to see if he's in Bruges.
So, Pusher. I'm sorry that you felt that way. You've been on a Mads Mikkelsen kick. No, not Mads Mikkelsen. Who's the other guy? Viggo Mortensen. I did this last week.
Yes, we were on a Vigo kick. Yeah, I was on a Vigo kick. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what's a contender for? Okay, let's talk about Pusher. I've never heard of Pusher, but 90s.
96 is as old as us.
The 90s were obsessed with the updated gangster crime film. No longer were we going to do The Godfather. We were going to do Snatch and Reservoir Dogs and like Trainspotting or
That's all I could think about during this movie. I was like, this is European Pusher.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is Pusher and it is European, but I was going to say it's European Trainspotting, and I thought, well, Trainspotting is European, so.
Yeah. But there's a lot of like just young movies about like just young guys hanging out with guns in the late 90s. And so it has that vibe. But I was really surprised with like what I feel like it does that a lot of those other movies don't do, is it has like this like Hitchcockian level of like every time something can go bad, it does, and worse than you think it could have.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But yes, you start out and you get this like fun-ish slice of life 90s hangout movie where you meet Frank, who's a little drug dealer, and he hangs out with his buddy all day, Tony.
How old are these guys?
Probably like around 30, probably early 30s.
Okay, yeah, I buy that.
Frank sells drugs. Tony helps him sell drugs, but they just kind of hang out. Tony is Mads Mikkelsen, and he's got like respect.
In English tattooed on
Yeah,
the
the back of his head, and he's wearing an American flag T-shirt the whole time. And I enjoyed the first like hour where you're just like hanging out with these guys, even though they're not the best like there's a scene where they go to the club and like Tony definitely like fills up a lady at the bar that I do not think enjoyed that because she then punches Frank in the face.
Mm-hmm.
But again, these are street urchin drug dealers in, it's not like they're good guys. I'm not like, clutching my pearls because that happened. It's just, the first thing I wrote down, though, was Train Spotting Club. Because, they had spent a lot of time in clubs. Club culture was huge in Europe in the 90s, for sure.
I love that club they go to when they go to the bar.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure just at the back of the bar at a neon sign, it just says
China Bowling? I think it says China Bowling or something like that.
So good.
Yeah. But yeah, I wrote down 90s hangout, and then I wrote down 90s dialogue is mostly talking about sex. It's just, for the first hour, they're just talking about, like,
Dude,
you think she does it in the butt, and like, oh yeah, I've had a lot of girls suck my dick and stuff. And
it's great.
It's so crazy because every time I go back and watch a movie from that, like Clerks or like anything around that era, like I just watched Clerks, and Zeta loved it, but the whole time it was a lot of just like two white dudes just talking about sex, and I'm like, okay.
You think it's Kevin's fault?
No, but I think it's like Kevin's fault, Quentin Tarantino's fault. Like it was just like,
yeah.
Something about the '90s and like just white Gen X dudes getting their hands on ink and paper, just like time to talk about sex, baby. So they hang out, they're talking about all that kind of stuff, whatever. And then I also wrote down, it reminds me of this thing, and I've talked about it on the podcast before. I remember one time seeing like this tweet on like probably Black people Twitter or something like that, where it was like someone being like, I feel like every time someone recommends a great movie to me, I'm like 2 hours in and then I hear a hard R. And it's like, because when you think about it, like it happens in The Shining, it happens in The Godfather, it happens like, Pulp Fiction, happens in Taxi Driver, and it happens in this movie.
It does.
They randomly they randomly just drop it not only once, but they also use it in reference to a Pakistani person.
Yeah.
When they call him a sand, that word.
I think Mads Mikkelsen says something almost worse.
Yeah, earlier when he's calling black people apes.
Is that what he says?
And I think he says the N-word.
Okay, that really got me. It really got me. Yeah. I was like...
Because they're talking about anal, and he's talking about how he's like black people like to do the anal or whatever.
I was like, whenever that happens, whenever Quentin Tarantino brings himself on screen to say that word, I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to like you already. You don't need to triple down on it.
Yeah. And I'm going to show you a meme that...
yeah.
Because I don't know if you've seen this, but I've actually seen a video version of that, and it like has like a couple of... It also has like Martin Scorsese doing it and Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
Anyways, so anything else that catches you about the first half before we go into like thriller mode? Let me know.
I love the little drug dealing family.
Yeah,
and their little store. I like Milo. I like his bodyguard guy.
Yeah,
his bald man.
Milo hanging out. He's making pastries.
Fucking wicked duster that dude's wearing this whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
The kebab guy. I love that. Might be my favorite scene in this movie.
When he's talking about the restaurant,
where they're gonna go fuck up this guy, and he's like legitimately concerned about Frank. He's like, you gotta do something, man.
Yeah.
You know what I love doing? Kebabs.
Yeah, and he's like, this is top secret. He's like, I haven't even told Milo yet. He's
like I was just that whole time I was waiting for it to turn, for this to just be a big monologue that he's giving to lure him and us into a false sense of security and being like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't really come.
Just him having a nice time, and it's a nice thing where, it reminds me of even like the the In Bruges thing where it's like Voldemort doesn't really want to kill the little kid or whatever, or even like him and Mad Eye Moody don't want to kill each other, but like it's like business is business, we gotta try to kill each other.
Yep.
Same thing with this, where like Milo and that guy, they love Frank, they're all friends, but they're like, it's also, we're drug dealers, like this is, if you don't have the money, I do have to kill you also, even though I love you.
Yeah, no, I'd really like that too when he comes back, when they pick him up off the street and they bring him back to Milo, and like he's like, okay, I'm gonna die here, and Milo's like, well, you got to give me your car keys, I'll take your car, I'll take your watch, I'll take your necklace, we'll work this out, don't worry about it. But then like there's the misunderstanding with the drugs in Amsterdam and stuff like that, and that's when it really turns. But like when that was happening, I'm like, I like this Milo guy. I don't know what to say, I just like him.
This is just one line off the Wikipedia, so I'm not like some expert on this, but apparently this is hugely influential in Danish film, and it was Mads Mikkelsen's film debut. Fun fact. But yeah, Frank's hanging out in Copenhagen. They deal heroin. Tony, so they early in the film they sell some drugs and they spend their time like going to the club. We went over all this. Frank has a friend.
Just stabbing each other with the backs of knives.
Yeah, dude,
in
that
the bar.
scene was crazy. Yeah. Frank has this woman
Vic?
that he hangs out with, a prostitute named Vic.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, she's a champagne girl.
yeah. They have this complicated relationship. I love this.
Yeah.
He clearly cares about her, but he's a street urchin, garbage, toxic masculinity guy.
They've never slept together, but that's his girlfriend.
Yeah. He clearly cares about her. He clearly loves her. He buys her things, but like he doesn't know how to be gentle with her at all.
Mm-hmm.
And she clearly loves him, even though he's nothing but cold to her. And especially towards the tail end of the movie, she's really there for him, and like his only comfort. I mean, he doesn't have Tony anymore, so I guess it makes sense. But he uses her to hold some of his stash. He also has like that one room, like that closet in a hotel that he like rents.
Yeah.
To stash a bunch of his money and stuff. So, and then Frank and Mads Mikkelsen talk about it a little bit later. And he like opens up about that, like, he's like, I can't sleep with her when it's paid for, kind of a thing. And so, I don't know. It just, there's something about it that gives you that little inkling of like a well-rounded person that's not all bad, right? Like, it's like, okay, so yeah, there is something in Vic that he likes about it, but like it's tainted by this like for money things. Like maybe one day if like they can get to a place where like he doesn't feel like it's like a transactional thing, like maybe there could be something here, you know. Mm-hmm. But basically a cellmate that he used to be in with comes to him and is like, yo, I'd like to buy some heroin off of you, please. And he's like, okay, let me go talk to Daddy Milo. And he goes talk to Daddy Milo, and he's like, this guy needs 200 grams tomorrow. And the guy's like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to give you the 200 grams. Even though you owe me 50,000 Danish monies, I'll still give you this, but just make sure that you bring the 50,000 by the end of the week, and then next week, or whatever, tomorrow bring me all the money for this heroin, and then, like, next week, you got to give me that 50,000 back, right? And then from this point on, if you don't have anything to say about that fun hangout point, everything that could go wrong goes wrong. And I love this half also.
I like it comes up in the hangout part before they go to sell to the guys. Something I really like about, I guess, the Danish language. I like when they're just like, I don't even know how to do fake
don't even
Danish.
try.
But I like when they're like, yada, Fred Astaire, yada, or just like, come on, man. It's just like, like, I love how close sometimes English and Danish are.
I think
to
there's
each other.
some slang that had crossed the border. This is just me talking about my ass, but that's one of the reasons why, like, when you're reading the subtitles for, like, I'm gonna buy a restaurant, but don't tell Milo yet because it's a secret. Mm-hmm. What he sounds like he says it sounds like he says top secret.
Yeah,
is what it sounds like he says.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh.
Definitely. Yeah, there are
I
definitely.
guess top secret is like slang over there.
You're right. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but you're right. There are some times where the subtitles are saying one thing, and I'm hearing them say something else that sounds like a similar
phrase,
sentence.
But yeah, that reminds me of one of my favorite lines. Like, Frank's super fucking depressed, obviously, like just sitting on the couch, and Vic comes over, and she's like, "What are you watching?" And he's like, some bullshit with Johnny Depp, and she's like, "Who's that?" Oh, okay, so. The deal goes bad.
Cops show up.
Yeah, they're hanging out in the parking lot, and Mads Mikkelsen fucks up his ankle because he's doing like some dumb karate movie kicks.
So funny. So funny.
And the cellmate shows up to buy the heroin. They drive around because he says that it's like less dangerous to do it that way, and they end up getting snatched by the cops. And this is something that I love in Gummo. And this is something that I loved in Leatherface at Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I love that all of the needle drops in this film are just like generic, like metal.
Oh my god, they're just in the most normal bar I've ever seen. Yeah. And it's just the hardest butt rock you've ever heard. It's insane.
Yeah. So Norwegian death metal starts playing while he's just trucking down the street. Like there's heroin flying and stuff. Yeah. And I love that he jumps in the lake, not necessarily that he needed to, because he could have just like thrown it into the wind or whatever, but just to like, you know, get rid of all the drugs, because, you know, they can't charge him if he doesn't physically have the, you know, drugs or whatever. So
I love when he's in there and they're like, all right, get over here. He's like, no, you have to come and get me. You have to get wet.
Yeah, but I love that scene. I love it. I love him
good.
running and him jumping in the thing, and yeah.
Dude, I just straight up don't know how Danish prison works.
Yeah.
They keep him there for 24 hours, and they're like, well, we got nothing. We have to let you go.
Yeah, so he he gets put in there. They give him some dry clothes. Then they like wake him up with a bucket at one point. And they just keep like trying to grill him American style. And
They're
like,
throwing peanuts
at
him.
Peanuts at him, stuff like that. And then eventually he's like, he has only got a couple minutes left. They let him go, but they tell him, again, this could have just been the cops fucking with him. You don't really know, but maybe it was.
Yeah.
But they tell him that Tony like ratted him out basically or whatever. And so then as soon as he's out, again, this is something that speaks to his character. He immediately goes to Milo and he's like, listen, I got busted. I don't have your money, And Milo doesn't believe him because it sounds far-fetched. Because, he's even like, okay, show me your, like, discharge papers or whatever. He's like, they don't give you any papers if you don't get charged with it. He's like, so you didn't get charged with anything when you had 200 grams on you? Like, how did you not get charged with anything? He's like, I dumped it in the lake. He's like, okay, so my heroin's in the lake, and you got busted, but you don't have any papers like that. Like, yeah, that sounds great. So you're ripping me off. Like, I need 180,000 Danish monies or whatever. And he's like, you go with Rodvin, his name is Rodvin or something like that. His name,
like Ray Donovan or something like that.
And he's like, you go get my money, basically, some money, just any money. There's so many times he gets like 6 chances just to like go get some money. Yeah. This dude's just like, bring me some money and I won't murder you. And every time he tries, it just does not work out. So the first thing he does is he's like, okay, I got to do one thing. And there's that scene, which is also, again, like kind of heartbreaking, where he has to go beat the dog shit out of Mads Mikkelsen. He doesn't have to, but he does because he feels betrayed by his like best friend and brother for ratting him out. And he just beats the dog shit out of Mads Mikkelsen. And when he's leaving, when he's like got a little bit of blood on him, he's like trying not to cry. Like,
yeah.
So good.
He straight up kills Mads Mikkelsen. He hits him with that bat so many times,
and
then it cuts to him on the floor, and he's just got
blood
6 baseball bat-sized gashes in the side of his head. I'm like, he's not.
Yeah.
Especially later when Vic is just like, I heard you fucked him up pretty bad. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He's telling people about this. He's gonna be in the hospital for the rest of his life.
So he does that, and then he goes to some guy that like is always buying heroin off him but never paying.
Mm-hmm.
And we do get that scene that you were talking about. Another one of my favorite scenes of the movie where, the guy, the muscle for Milo is, I'm thinking about opening a restaurant and we'll have Milo bake. And they're like, oh, it's baking so gross.
And again,
and they
laugh. Like what I was saying, he's like, yeah, they had to get a shish kebab. This guy that they go talk to.
Yeah.
Love the look of this guy. Got crazy cheeks.
Yeah.
But I love that on IMDb, his picture, especially for like the casting for a Pusher, it says his name Junkie, and then his picture is him current day, assumably with like a weed vape pen in his mouth. It's fucking funny.
That's funny. Basically, they're, as you do in a drug shakedown, you're bullying a guy into trying to give you money, bullying the shit out of him, and they're basically, they give him like a shotgun and they're like, go rob a bank for us for money. Then if you don't have money, go rob a bank for us. And then the dude blows his head off in front of him, which was the first. Didn't expect that. That happens.
That doesn't seem like a. If you're a junkie, I feel like you're pretty prepared to go to jail. Not prepared, but like in the back of your mind, you have to be like, there's a good chance I'm going to jail at some point for a while. And so if someone's like, go rob a bank, I'd be like, I think. Listen, I think what he did was a little extreme. I just robbed a bank,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
A 1996.
You feel like you can get away with a 1996 bank robbery?
1996 Danish bank robbery? Yeah, they held it. He had 200 grams of heroin on him, and they let him go after 24 hours.
Yeah.
I think he'd be fine robbing a bank.
Okay. Blows his brains out. Then they have that solemn ride back where Radovan or whatever is like, tough break, kid. And he's like, all right, you're going to tell Milo, right? And he's like, yeah. And they part ways, and he's like, oh. Frank's just kind of like, well, that probably buys me a little bit of time. It's like, what am I supposed to do without that,
It's a little different, which I really like. Ray Donovan is just like, okay, listen, man, I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
You're going to have until tomorrow, okay? This really sucks. I was there. I know this really sucks. Yeah. I'm going to give you until tomorrow. I'll make sure you have until tomorrow. Because, like, him and Milo, everybody wants to be his friend so bad.
Yeah.
And he just won't let him.
So then, after that happens, I think Vic and Frank, it says
Einstein.
So let me see. Let me try to look at my notes a little bit from this point. Jumping in the water. I think, what's the next thing he tries to do for money? I know at one point he tries to shake down that other guy in his, like, warehouse, and he like grabs a box, and the guy's like, I've got like 20,000 Danish monies in like junk or whatever. He's like, if you would have called beforehand, I could have got money.
Oh yeah, that's way later.
He throws the box and it hits a guy on the bike.
He goes
funny as fuck.
He goes
super funny scene.
Yes, he goes to the club and talks to that guy about getting a gun. Drops his phone in the toilet.
Yes,
which is very funny. I love it.
He's like, I have to buy a new phone. Yeah.
Him and Vic go to that club. He yells at her to get back in the cab. They go to her house. Her dog's
right, because he's like, what did that guy say to you? And he's like, he asked if I'd suck his dick for $500 or whatever. And he's like, well, why don't you? Or whatever. He's like, you're a prostitute, aren't you? And she's like, no, I'm not a prostitute. And they have the champagne girl conversation.
And he's like, what's the difference between $3,000 and $300? And she's like, a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I get that. And yeah, they just kind of fuck around at her apartment while she gets high and he watches stuff on TV.
Yeah, he like turns the radio up real loud and he does like some air guitar and he throws like a human skull at her and they toss it back and forth a little bit. It's cute. It's like a short moment where it's like, what they could have if they just weren't caught up in, drugs and prostitution and stuff,
I know it's kind of the point of the movie, but I remember at this part where they're at her apartment, I'm like, God damn, these people just love doing drugs.
Yeah.
Like, you've already seen him do coke a few times today, I think. He's constantly testing heroin by rubbing it on his teeth and stuff. And then he's, like, in bed rolling a joint. I'm like, dude, just fucking stick to a drug for the day.
Then there was that other plot line where he had sent that girl off to like go sell some of his product, and she was going to be back on Friday, and he was going to like pay her money then, right? Mm-hmm. So then we flash forward to like Friday. She's supposed to be back, but she's not going to be back.
Frondog or something.
Yeah, Frondog. But and so then he has to call Milo and be like, hey, I don't have your money today. It's going to have to be tomorrow. I'm sorry, I'm too busy. And Milo's obviously pissed, but then he just spends the whole day, I think, dicking around at Vic's apartment with her and watching movies and yada, yada, yada. And then Saturday, he wakes up and he meets with her, the girl that like has brought the drugs back from like Amsterdam or whatever. And I don't think she has money. Oh, yeah. He sends her off to like... Either way, she gives him drugs. I don't know what the deal was, but like
she wants the money from him and he's like, no, get... And then Ray Donovan shows up and gets in the car.
Yeah, but he has drugs from her.
Yes.
Because Ray Donovan is like... No, for sure. Because what happens is, yes, he has drugs from her. Because what happens is Ray Donovan is like, I need money, and he's like, well, I've got like $100,000 worth of heroin in the thing or whatever. And then he goes into the thing. It ends up being like lactate.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's hers. And then the second one he tests, and he's like, this is the real stuff. And then he's like, you motherfucker, and they're like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then later on, there's the scene where he's shaking her down the alley, and he's like, why the fuck was that drugs baking soda? Like, where the fuck are my drugs? Where the fuck are my drugs? She's like, it's in Amsterdam. This guy named Jesse has it or everything. He goes and shakes down Jesse.
Yeah, so we didn't give it to her. Or
no, she gave that to him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying.
No, you were saying it was drugs, and I said it wasn't drugs. It was baking soda.
Okay.
Are we fighting?
No.
All right.
But anyways. So, again, another way that just, like, crazy, like, again, like a guy shooting himself instead of... Yeah. Getting you your money. It's like there's so many times where it's like truly these things are not in Frank's control.
Yes, and
I mean he could be more responsible and on top of things. He's like kind of a very passive guy.
Yeah.
So in a sense, in like a cosmic sense, like yes, it is his fault for not being more of a proactive like go-getter and being kind of like a lazy layabout, like doesn't really care, like So yes, it is his fault in like a in a story sense, but
yes,
in real life he's not objectively doing anything that like would be like other than selling drugs, but like that would like net this being so. Anyways,
and he goes and sees his mom.
Yeah, that's like rock bottom. That's like the last thing he does. He goes home to mom to just be like, "Can I get some cash?"
Dude, it's so tough. It's so tough when his mom goes, I have six. He's like, I need 230,000. And she's like, I have 6,000. You can have it.
Yeah.
And he takes it.
Yeah.
Buddy, that's so tough. That's so tough.
Yeah.
It's like, because that's not even a dent of what you need, and you're taking your mom's life savings.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bummer. Such a bummer.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like it reminds me of when you text me like, "Oh, Pusher is tough." I was like, "Does he mean cool or like?" Because it could go either way. You didn't mean cool.
I mean, I guess
It's a cool movie.
In every sense of
Yeah.
of the word, this movie is tough.
It's like a 90s version of Breathless. Have you ever seen Breathless?
I have not.
We should watch Breathless for the podcast.
Okay.
It's a 1960s, like, it's like the French New Wave movie.
Oh.
Famously, there's like a, interview with like Martin Scorsese where he talks about seeing that movie and being like, whoa, this is too cool for me. Like, he's like, that is a cool movie. He's like, that's, like, I could never make something like that.
That's pretty sick.
But basically, the plot of Breathless is that, if I'm not mistaken, the main character, like, whatever it is, it's like some kind of infraction happens. Like, I don't know if it's a drug deal gone wrong or something like that, but he basically kills a guy. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I've got, like, a couple of days to get the fuck out of France. And he spends it falling in love with, like, this, like, American girl that he, like, basically spends, like, the 2 days just being like, you should run away with me. You should run away with me. Like, and there's just, like, this constant, like, tension between, like, the scenes where, like, he's, like, looking in the newspaper and being like, oh, there's my face, I'm wanted for murder, I need to get out of here, and then, like, him just, like, hanging around smoking cigarettes with, like, this young girl. Yeah So it is a precursor to, like, this kind of a film, like a Pusher or like a, like a Reservoir Dogs.
I'm intrigued.
Like that.
I'm intrigued. Yeah.
Or even like a Trainspotting, or a Drive.
Yeah.
Same thing. Guy's life of crime, and he falls in love with this girl.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Yeah, like all the phone calls with the whole like, how are we gonna work this out at the end? Like after there's that really climactic kind of scene with Milo and Frank, where Frank gets the gun from the muscle and he ends up like shooting everybody and running off. And then later, after Frank has hatched the Breathless plan with Vic to like run away to Spain with like whatever money they can scrap together, and then Milo calls and he's like, hey, if you just come to my house and give me some money, let's put this behind us.
Which is so stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Frank. But that call reminds me of Drive.
Yes.
Like the calls at the end where they're just like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about this? He's like, I just want to give you the money and then like wash my hands of this. And he's like, I can't do that. Like all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I was thinking about, in relation to Drive in this movie, Nicholas Winding Refn loves a guy standing with his hands in his jacket pocket waiting for someone else to open a door. I feel like that's a lot of his movies.
So funny observation.
Thank you.
And then one of the last, like, oh, fuck, I cannot believe it went so wrong for Mr. Frank situations. She just yoinks that money right out of his pocket and fucking runs to the cab with a club and hops in a cab.
The whole time I was like, man, good for her.
Good for her.
Good for her. Because, because he's like, fuck it, we're not going to Spain. What would I do there anyway? You suck. And it's just like,
yeah. It's a true bros before hoes move where he's just like, I'll get right with Milo rather than, like, run away with this girl who clearly loves me in another country.
Also, something I wanted to bring up about this movie that I'm thinking about, especially when she runs from him and they're running through that club and then she runs into a cab or whatever.
Yeah.
I am so blown away by how dark this movie is.
Yeah.
Like, optically.
Yeah.
Like, how often it is just nearly pitch black and you can't see anything, and the movie's like, hang on a second, you'll figure it out. You'll know what's happening. And, like... Yeah. At first, I was like, oh, this is crazy. This is for sure this guy's first movie. But then by the time it was at the end, I'm like, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the movie not like, I guess in a sense, it was maybe out of necessity, but it kind of felt like at the end where it was like, oh, it's not babying you in a way where it's like, you don't need to, I know it's a visual medium, but you don't need to see every second of this movie. Sometimes they're in a dark area, okay? Yeah. Just deal with it. I like that quite a bit. Yeah.
So... at the end of the day, I'm giving it an A+. I love this movie. I think it's great.
Hell yeah.
And I'm curious what you're going to give it.
I'm going to give it hard B.
Okay. And I'm curious about the next two just because, what the fuck? It says online that he only made the other two because times were tough and he needed cash.
No, I buy that. Yeah.
And yet, they seem to also be critically very well received, which is not the case for most trilogies. Yeah. I think the third one has 100%.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
If I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it's the second one and then the third one has like 93. But either way, it's like they're like very, according to Rotten Tomatoes alone, they seem to be like a very well received kind of thing. So
2 has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, then 3 is probably 93 then. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Because you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
3's about Milo.
Yeah, we said that earlier.
Maybe I'm just reiterating. I wasn't. I forgot we had said it earlier, but yeah, I am. I would like to see these movies.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm glad we watched it.
Yeah, for sure. So, next up, gonna watch The Scream. Just do a little standalone cutie.
Yeah.
And then before March 15th, whatever episode. I don't know what day exactly it falls on, but it's the Oscars, which means it's the Lillards.
Ooh, baby, my favorite time of year.
Yeah, so if you want to plan something big for that.
I was going to say, I'm in charge of it this year, aren't I? Because you kind of
did last year. Yeah.
Frick. Okay.
Want to scrounge something together.
All right, I got time. I can do it.
All right.
Hell yeah. All right.
Lillards 2026.
Bless up.
Yes, it's the Lillards.
That's what you'll do. I'll do the show. You figure out the theme song.
Got it.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Alrighty. I gotta find some like public domain like Oscar type intro, and then I'll just over top of it croon like, "Who won Best Picture? Who won Slimiest Picture?"
I like that you rhyme picture with picture. Nice.
Yeah. All right, that's that, Mattress Man.
If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,